Village on the I-495 north, heading towards 90, and heading up toward the 117. It's quite beautiful here today. Beautiful colors. Gorgeous. It's a lot better right now in Massachusetts than it is Rhode Island as far as fall foliage. It's really, really gorgeous here. Just beautiful.
Irish nationalist argument is that if Northern Ireland voted that way on such a major issue, it cannot be wrenched out of the European Union and thereby divorced even more from the Irish Republic, which stays in the European Union.
Now here we are on the eve of yet another vote. I understand that the Democratic Unionist Party only has 10 votes in this 650-seat parliament, so do they even have the power to stop this?
No, they don't. And so what you've seen is a big geopolitical shift. And Northern Ireland has held up this process for 3 years, a tiny fraction of Europe, less than 1% of the population, and Europe isn't going to allow it to hold it up anymore, and neither is London.
You use the term dragging. What's the mood about the whole Brexit process in Northern Ireland?
I think the mood is, there's always been bewilderment because of the complicated nature of it. In addition to that, there's great resentment and anger. In Northern Ireland, you have the same divisions over Brexit, but overlaying pre-existing divisions that are centuries old. I was beginning to think 10 years ago that the Northern Ireland situation had been largely solved, increasingly prosperous society, people not so hung up on identity. Well, suddenly these divisions have erupted. Not so violent, there's a small amount of violence still, but
Ben Lowry, Deputy Editor for the Belfast Newsletter. Thank you for explaining it.
Thank you for having me.
Local governments across the country want the drug industry to pay for the damage from the opioid crisis. Thousands of counties, cities, Native American tribes, and other parties have sued manufacturers, distributors, and pharmacies. Opening arguments are scheduled to begin next Monday in the first set of claims to go to trial. 2 Ohio counties will serve as plaintiffs. And all the while, attorneys continue to negotiate possible settlements. From member station WCPN, Nick Castell reports.
Eric Steinmack's path to addiction began with a work injury. Several years ago, he says, he was working a side job on a day off.
It was some stage flooring. We were unloading off of the back of a box truck, and it fell off of the lift gate and then landed on my foot and crushed my foot.
Steinmack was prescribed opioid painkillers, he says, and grew addicted. After a close friend died of a heroin overdose, Steinmack describes reacting in a way that may seem surprising.
My first thought was, well, if this was something that they were willing to give their life over, what's the deal with it, So that's when I tried heroin for the first time.
After an arrest, Steinmack sought treatment at IBH Addiction Recovery Center, where we talked on a porch overlooking the campus. It's a residential facility in Summit County, Ohio, one of the 2 plaintiffs in the upcoming trial. Steinmack is now part of a post-treatment volunteer program that he says has given meaning to his life. Many people have gone down the same road, beginning with prescription pills before moving to street drugs such as heroin or fentanyl. That's why counties say drug companies are responsible for lighting the fuse of an addiction crisis that exploded and strained local services.
An average episode here is going to cost between $15,000 and $20,000.
Jonathan Wiley is the executive director of IBH. Treatment centers like this one often bill Medicaid for those costs, he says, and also receive funding from county addiction and mental health boards. Wiley says no amount of money can truly match the damage that people have suffered here.
There's no number they can come up with that's going to meet the societal cost of what the opiate epidemic has meant to this state.
There's the cost to medical examiners for toxicology reports after overdose deaths, to the foster system to care for children who have lost parents, to local jails and courts that handle drug cases. An expert witness for the plaintiffs says damages in these 2 Ohio counties could run higher than $200 million. The counties have accused drug companies of marketing painkillers aggressively while underplaying the risk of addiction and of failing to control suspicious orders of pills.
This case, the facts of the case are just incredibly strong. They're devastating.
Andrew Paulus is a law professor at Case Western Reserve University.
They demonstrate really a profit-driven desire to exploit the fact that opioids are inherently physically addictive.
Companies didn't make representatives available for interviews, but in court filings, they've said counties can't pin the crisis on the industry. They say they plan to argue that they complied with a changing set of federal rules and that they can't be blamed for the damage of illegal drugs. Abby Gluck is faculty director of the Solomon Center for Health Law and Policy at Yale Law School.
I would predict that we're going to see a lot of attention to this question of causation. Can we really say that all of these different defendants caused the harm that they're being sued for